between the apprentice category and the practitioner category in that there's little to no representation in the apprentice column, whereas the practitioner column has some sort of representation, be it pictures or numbers, equations, even one has a pattern. The apprentice category, either there's some mistakes, but there are no pictures. And one thing we're thinking is, how did they keep track of their work? So they may, some of them even have it correct, which is interesting, but you can't see what they did to solve the problem.
And that, when you look at it from this lens, through this assortment of work through apprentice, how would adding, because a lot of these kids actually did get the answer right.
Right.
Or no, that's not counting. How is adding, or those three did, the top three got the right answer.
Right.
Would adding an organized representation for their thinking move them to practitioner or expert, and why? Why would a representation help that? What does the representation do that we're not seeing here?
It helps them keep track of their thinking and show the relationship between the pattern blocks and the actual patterns that are happening as they add numbers to it.
It's the making their thinking visible. Yeah. Right now, we don't know what they're thinking.
Right.
And we're going to go back and interview them. But we don't know what they're thinking based on their student works.
I think I'm surprised too, because the investigations program is so based on showing your work that they should already be so used to this. I'm surprised at some of their results.
Now, what about the expert? How do you
make it like
describe that work? And is there anyone, now that you see it this way, is there anyone that you put in practitioner that you might move to expert, and is there anyone expert that you might move to practitioner?
I like my experts where they are. I
And
feel
describe
like,
it.
well, this is the one that I'm sort of thinking, it's just so well written. I think if he had more pictures and a little bit more labeling, I think it would be better. But if you read it from beginning to end, he really has a good understanding of the problem.
Would a representation complement that work?
Yes,
Or would
absolutely.
Because sometimes if you push the writing part on pieces that speak for themselves, like this one,
Yeah.
I would not push this student to write a description of this because it speaks for itself.
Okay.
But would a representation for this one complement the work? Like if this was with this, like this doesn't need this description,
But if it didn't,
I'm wondering, especially in the category of representation, because it says expert for representation says abstract or symbolic mathematical representations are constructed to analyze relationships, extend thinking, and clarify or interpret phenomena.
what's interesting about that is, this is a child who pushes himself in everything. And when he went back and looked at the rubric, he knew
What that meant.
He knew what it meant. He knew he was not an expert in that category. I'm almost positive he went back and added that. So he's definitely capable of it. I think I would like to see it. I mean, I don't know. Is it necessary?
I think it's a question we bring back to the discrepancy part. It's not a discrepancy, but it's a question we have about how far do we push expert work to refine it? And is there a time when we say
Remember when you said based on the student and sometimes how the student reacts? Knowing him as a student, I think he would appreciate that very much if I went back and said, what can you do to make this better? Showing a representation.
Or how could we represent your thinking in a different way? And I don't think you need to move him from that. I don't think he needs to be a practitioner to maybe have a target list in front of him. But there's room to move.
Definitely.
In that category. So